Hey you guys, it's me, Melissa. It's been a hot minute since I've done a video and put it on YouTube as far as I guess like this content here. I've done day in the life ones, but I haven't done anything like this in a while, so I do apologize. But back at it, just had a lot of changes that's happened through fall actually. Now that I think about it, not even over the summer. Fall was a lot going on. So I had to take my little sabbatical for 25 days, about 24, 25 days leading up to my 30th birthday, which was great, very necessary for me to do that. So in this video, we're going to talk about how I pumped 50 ounces a day, 50 ounces of breast milk a day for twins. If you are new to my channel, I am a mom of identical twins, Anna and Bella, Anastasia and Isabella. They are my miracle babies, my rainbow babies, my IVF babies. This page is about motherhood, infertility, pregnancy, all of that. So I'll put a link down in the description as far as my infertility journey and how you can go about seeing that. And then check out the playlist, my day in the life of a twin mom, as well. That's included all on this channel. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about 7 tips that I have. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes at the same time so I don't forget. We're going to do 7 tips on ways that I was able to get pumped 50 ounces a day for my girls. Thank God. So I pumped for a year, so I'll start off with that. And I started pumping in the hospital. Like, I know they showed me day 1, but I probably started pumping day 2, and day 4 is when my milk came in. So, tip number 1, there's not any specific order, but tip number 1 is you have to be warm. That's really important. I, as a child, was very anemic. I don't know if I'm anemic now. That's something I really should check into next time I do a physical, my annual physical. But for me, I have to stay warm. If my feet are cold, if my hands are cold, my whole body, everything it's freezing cold. And for me, what really helped me was pumping right after taking a hot shower. Pretty much 90% of the time I would leak, so I'd be like, okay, let me get out the shower, I gotta pump right away. Having a warm compress, there's ones that are like microwavable, you can buy at Walgreens, Walmart, pretty much anywhere, or a heating pad if you have that to help you warm up. Having socks on, just things like that, just to keep your body temperature warm. That way it can help you produce and stimulate the milk. Number 2, having the middle of the night pump. That is essential. That is so key. And that's the hardest pump to do. The first 2 weeks of life, the girls were in the NICU, so I was going back and forth. The very first week, actually, the first week I was going back and forth. Week 2, they opened up a larger suite, so I was able to stay in the room with them and sleep there overnight. But that first week after giving birth, you're exhausted. All you want to do is sleep, especially since the girls weren't with us. But that middle of the night pump was key. Doing it for me between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. peak. 4, 5 o'clock, golden hour. And usually that pump, if it wasn't that pump, it was that first morning pump right after, I would have the most milk. Anywhere between 12 to 24 ounces was my peak that I had. For one pump, literally 24 ounces, and that's a whole. At the time, the girls were 3 months old when I hit that peak, and that was a whole day's worth of milk, legit. But I still had 7 more pumps to go too. I'll throw in the beginning, I pumped at 8 times a day, and then I weaned. And if you'd like me to do a video about how I went about weaning to get to that 1 year and stop, I'll do a video about that. Post that in the comments if you'd like that. The next tip, skin to skin, it's hard. You have bottles to wash. You have yourself to take care of, your spouse or your partner to take care of, the babies to take care of. There's so much that you need to do that it's really hard to be like, oh, I'm just going to have this quality time with my kids. For me, it was really difficult because I had two of them that wanted to be on me. So that was really, really hard. I had a lot of mom guilt with that. But skin to skin is so important. It releases that, is it oxytocin or... God, I feel like I'm making that word up. Pitocin. I don't remember what it is, but they call it like some sort of love hormone or something of that nature, where that it just releases that to help produce that milk. So that's so important. I was able to do skin to skin that night. I want to say my surgery was scheduled for like 9 a.m. I was out by 10 something, in recovery by 11. Slept. I mean, they really wanted to make sure I was okay to go to the NICU, so I didn't go to the NICU until late that evening. And immediately they're like, Mom, do you want to do skin to skin? And I was like, of course. And I still have that picture of me and Anna. My husband Isaiah, he had Isabella. So if I remember to insert the picture, I'll insert the picture of the first skin to skin. That was so important, and I did that every time I went to the NICU. Every time was skin to skin. It was just so important. Unless I had like, if I had like multiple guests that were trying to come see the girls, then I probably wouldn't do it like right then and there. I'd probably wait a little bit later. But it was just so important to do that. It was just, I think that really helped to bring in my milk as well. Being happy. Tip number 4, you have to be in a happy space. You can't sit here and watch some crazy episode of TV that unstirred you, or just had an argument with a friend or family member or your spouse, and then go pump afterwards. You have to be in the right state of mind, in a relaxed state of mind. Watching your favorite show, watching something that makes you laugh, looking at pictures of your newborn, happy pictures of you and your partner, like things like that. You have to be in the right state of mind and really be happy when you are pumping. As hard as it is, as exhausting as it is, I had to do it. That was my motivation for me. And when I pumped, I tried when I could to kind of be alone in my own space, if I had the help at that time, just to be in my own area. I'll throw in, I apologize if the orientation of this, if you have like the two black things to the side, because I haven't done a video on this phone in a while. So I don't remember how my front-facing camera, how that orientation happened. So sorry about that. The 5th tip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, food. If you guys don't know, I'm Haitian. And so therefore I am from the Caribbean, West Indian, whatever you guys want to call it. I don't know what's politically correct. But food is so important. So I can only talk about the foods that I ate, that what I grew up, my culture. For me, papaya juice, soup joumou, that's Joumou, which is like a pumpkin squash based soup with I'll try to insert a clip so you can see what it looks like. But it could be meatless, it cannot be meatless, but it just basically has vegetables and things like that. Great for milk production. Oatmeal, great for milk production. So those are the things that I ate from the jump. Like as soon as I got out of the hospital, my mom and my mother-in-law were making that for me like crazy, and the nurses couldn't believe how much milk I was bringing in daily for the girls. It was in shock. And at first I felt discouraged a bit, because I was just like, well, how much am I supposed to be giving them? But literally the girls were only drinking like 10, 15, 20 ounces. Milliliters. So it's like they really weren't, like, they were drinking maybe like half an ounce, yet I was producing probably, like, in the very beginning, I could be producing anywhere between 2 to 8 ounces per pump. So for me, I was like, oh, that's not really that much. But when I looked at, because I wasn't there 24/7 in the beginning, when I looked at how much they were eating at a time, and literally when I left the NICU, that's when I realized, oh, I had an had a overproduction, or I was overproducing, I guess you could say, is when we left the NICU and they brought all my milk out that they had stored. I was like, oh my gosh, like they were telling me I was an overproducer, but I couldn't really see it because when I gave them the milk, they took it, they stored it somewhere and labeled it and processed the milk. So when I got so much milk coming back out, and I was like, well, I had milk with me, when I came to pick them up for discharge, and then I had milk at home. So it was like, God, I have all this milk. And so I was grateful to be producing that much per pump, anywhere from 2 to 8 ounces in the beginning, and then it would just increase from there, between like 8 to 16 ounces a pump from there. And so I was really, really grateful for that. So the food was just absolutely important. And I even mentioned it to the NICU moms when we had our little lunch breaks, not lunch breaks, but when we would step out to eat lunch and things like that. They'd ask me like, hey, what are you eating? Or what are you doing? Or how much do you pump? And I'd say, hey, this is how much I pump. This is how much I'm making. Hey, this is what I'm eating. Try this out. X, Y, and Z. The seventh, why am I saying seventh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth tip for you to be it's not for you to be an overproducer, but that I was able to get to 50 ounces a day was sleep. Now you're guessing, Melissa, what in the heck are you talking about? You had twins. When did you sleep? I slept when I could. Like, I slept every opportunity that I could get. I don't know how many 5-minute, 10 minutes naps that I took, but that night shift is what I'm really talking about. If you can have a friend, a family member, your partner take over the night shift, so that way you can get at least 3 to 4 hours worth of sleep to get to number 2, that middle of the night pump. Oh my gosh, it's going to be golden, because you have to rest your body, your mind, all that. You need to rest in order to get to the milk. That's just what it is. You have to get some sort of sleep or relaxation in. So that's extremely important. And the final tip, which I feel like, looking at my list, I'm trying to see here. Looking at my list, is it the most, I can't say it's the most important one, like that would be my number one, but it's a major factor, is getting the right pump. It's really hard to figure out what pump works for you. It is. I had the hospital pump, which was Amita, and then I had the insurance pump, which was Spectra, right? I had those at my disposal. My insurance changed a couple times with my employer, so I was able to acquire another 3 pumps. So I believe I had like 5 in total. 1 I ended up selling, and so right now I have in my possession 1, 2 Amitas, Bella Baby. So I have 4 pumps in my possession. Again, I'm no longer pumping. I stopped at that 1 year mark. Again, if you want me to do a video as to how I was able to do that, I will absolutely do that for you. Just let me know in the comments below. Back to what I was saying. Knowing the right pump for you. Some pumps are more aggressive. There's certain pumps that you need, and you don't know that until you really try it out. For me, I felt like my Spectra could be soft and aggressive at the same time. And I do have videos about the pumps that I have, that I have used. I have reviews on them. They're completely unbiased. They're not sponsored. It's my personal opinion. So I'll link that below as well, in the description bar. So there's certain pumps that worked better for me during the day, during the night, and when my period came back. For me, when my period came back, and this probably happens for a lot of women, I really would lose so much milk. It would just, I would kind of almost not dry up, but like my production was like cut in half. So therefore, I had to use like a Bella Baby or a Spectra to be more aggressive than get that pull. So just knowing the right pump that's for you. So yes, let's go over it really quick. Staying warm, middle of the night pumps, skin to skin, having a happy state of mind, eating the right food, sleep, and the right pump are all my 7 tips Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Confessions of a Twin Mom, and Confessions of an Aspiring Mom. I hope to do more videos like this. Miss you guys. Bye. Like, comment, and subscribe.